Hey everybody, we're here for a new episode of Five for Talking. It's been a couple weeks, but we're back. We're coming out hard. I was just in Vegas watching the Leafs. Well, it was about a week ago now. I'm here with Caps, the captain of the show, and we're
How was
just
the
gonna.
trip?
It was nice. Like generally, genuinely,
Hmm.
Las Vegas is a very nice place. Like just
Well,
not not
duh.
not the not the Las Vegas of it. Like it's in the middle of a whole like mountain range in the desert. There's never clouds. Like it's just like a genuinely nice looking place.
Hmm.
Um
Definitely, definitely.
the arena's nice, the game was nice. We spanked them. There was way more Leaf fans than Vegas fans. They did not like that. I'm surprised there was no fights, but that's probably a good thing. Um let's talk about the NHL.
Let's do it.
So there was a trade the other day. We were all a little bit upset about it. Chris Tanev went to the Stars with Cole Brady. The Flames received Grushnikov, a second round pick, and a conditional third, and the Devils got a fourth round pick to retain salary.
I'm sorry, you said the Devils?
Yeah.
Okay. Um,
That was added later. That's why we never saw
oh,
that in the
okay.
original trade.
That threw me off. So the Stars get Tanev. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you seem to have had a bigger opinion about it than I did. So I wanna get you to say what you need to say first before, and then I'll just rub off of that.
Oh, well, I don't remember everything I said, to be honest. But I just think that I understand how trades work. Like we talked about this with the Monahan trade, and prior to that, did the other defenseman Zadorov, I think it was, and like maybe the Leafs weren't in communication right with them. You said there's rumors that's about something which I'll let you talk about, but I these trades are so minuscule from one end to what the other teams are getting that I just don't understand how you there was never a choice for you because the Leafs have way more to offer that they'll be willing to give up than what these teams are getting for these players. And I just find that really odd to me, right? Because like we have draft picks that are expendable because if we're trying to win a cup, the next 3 years of draft picks are irrelevant to us. And you have prospect guys like Robertson and a few guys that are in the Marlies right now that you can easily move, and teams would take it. You have a guy like Brody that you could dump his salary and someone will take it. I just to me it feels odd. Even Wall at this point, like I know nobody likes to hear me say that, but and we'll get more into Leafs talk later, but just based on this trade, I found that really strange. And now, on a side note, before you go, uh Tyler Seguin is coming off LTIR now before the playoffs. So his 9.5 million or 9.1 million, whatever it is coming back on the books. They thought they were going to be able to bury him until the playoffs, but because of when he's coming back, they can't hide him anymore. So now they have to figure out something to do with salary because they're going to be over cap
Hmm.
before the season. Or maybe it's going to make it so they can't make any more moves, right? But I do think that's a huge pickup for Dallas, especially for what they gave up.
Dallas Stars are in a win now mentality. They're first in their division, and they realize that their biggest obstacle to winning that cup is um, the Colorado Avalanche, in my opinion, um, and possibly the Vegas Golden Knights. Uh, I think for them, it's a definite must, and you know, good pickup on them. Um, I mean, if we're gonna go back to what the Leafs were doing, I mean, there were rumors that they did make a an offer to Calgary for Tanev, but I'm not so sure of if it's just rumor or if it's fact. I don't know. Um, but they obviously went with Dallas, and um, you know, yeah. I mean, it's good for Dallas. It's good for Dallas. I mean, I really don't have that much to say about that.
So just for details, I have it here. The Flames retained 50% of Tanev's salary, and the Devils retained 25%. He is an expiring contract, which I understand, and I believe he's 34, so it's not like he's young for the NHL. But in my thought process, once again going back to it, was you make this trade for them, they retain. Then next season, because he's older, you offer him a lower contract and you lock him up for like 3 seasons if you're the Leafs. But we'll see. I'm assuming he's going to hit free agency. I doubt he's going to re-sign with Dallas.
But didn't Tanev say that he wanted to play down the states? Is that what?
I don't recall. You might be right. I don't recall that, but
Yeah, I think he was looking for an extension down the states. I that's what I heard. Um, Maybe it made Toronto a little reluctant to offer more. I'm not sure, but
but in a win
um,
now mentality, which we're
yeah,
seeing Dallas do. Yes, maybe he's not going to re-sign with you, but is he going to be maybe the piece that helps you right now?
it's
Because
it's definitely.
if you look at what they gave up for him, right? I know we're going to keep dwelling on that, but we'll come back to this in a trade later as we segue into Leafs. But had the Leafs been able to pull off both of these trades, because they easily could have with the assets that they have, Tanev and Labushkin you'd be stacked on the defensive end.
Yeah,
Um, but we'll wait.
yeah,
We'll get into that in a sec.
yeah.
So before we do, there was breaking news today that Pedersen re-signed to the Canucks. It's 11.6 million over 8 seasons per 11.6 per. That's a pretty good contract for him.
I
He's
mean,
better, honestly. Maybe not season wise, but he is having a good season. But he's a more skilled player than Nylander, and Nylander got that.
he's the cornerstone of that team.
Yeah,
It's a necessity. I think he's proven to be worth that kind of money. Um, he's having another great year. But yeah, if the Vancouver Canucks want to remain to be competitive in the NHL, they need a Pedersen. So I think it's a must for them. I think it's a win. Um, but yeah,
I guess we're gonna just jump off NHL for now, generally, um, and go to Leafs. But I want another segue I just thought of. So if he's making 11 point, what did I say it was 11.5? Sorry, 11.6. If he's making 11.6 and he's the cornerstone of this franchise, he's clearly like an elite level talent. What does this say for an upcoming contract for, let's say, a Mitch Marner? Because in my opinion, Mitch Marner's not as good as Pedersen.
um, I agree, but we all know for a fact that he's going to get that kind of money anyway, somewhere, whether it's with the Leafs or with somebody else, he's going to get it. And it's going to be hard, even though I know that they're going to try and make it work anyway. They're going to make it work, but I kind of disagree with the fact that the Leafs will offer that kind of money to him. But it is what it is. I do think that Pedersen is the better player, um, but Marner's going to get it. I mean, let's face facts. Marner's going to get it. He's going to get. He's going to get north of 12.
And it's for me, I just find it weird because it's not like they're old, right? They have this contract coming up and then another big contract in their careers, if prospectively if they stay healthy, right? Um, so for me, it's like you already just got paid. Like you got paid a lot. Don't you want to win now? Like is getting another $11 million contract more important than an $8 million contract to win a Stanley Cup?
To Marner, no, because he's going to be looking at Matthews and Nylander and being like, "Hey, you guys got
Yeah.
raises, so I want that
Nylander,
same."
who is the best player on the Leafs this year, and Auston Matthews, who's like the greatest goal scorer of his generation right now.
No, we understand that. We can look at the bigger picture and see the fact that these guys should be getting paid what they're getting paid. But I can guarantee you, Marner
Oh,
is
I understand.
probably not looking at it the same way.
Your
So
mic
yeah,
just cut out. I don't know what it was.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways, so let's talk about the trade. So the Leafs got Lyubushkin back from the Ducks. They gave Carolina a 6th-round pick to retain 25%. The Ducks are retaining 50%. And the Leafs also got Karel Slepets. I don't know, or Slepets. I don't know what Lyubushkin's contract was. I probably should have looked into it. I'm sure you probably know. It must have been like $3 million.
Say 2.7, I
Yeah.
think, something around there.
So, I
And
mean,
I
they
think it
gave up a
expires
third
at
and
the
a
end of the year
sixth.
too. I think it expires at the end of the year as well.
Yeah, but I can't see him getting a large contract, right? If he does resign or however that works, it's going to be in the $2 million range again.
Hey, we said the same. We thought the same thing about Shen, but that guy got that one hell of a raise when he came here because he freaking just outplayed.
Yeah, and then, but listen, he got a goofy gas contract the next year, which was this season, right?
Yeah,
And is he playing really well?
I haven't been keeping
Is he
up with
playing at all?
Nashville. I have not been keeping up with Nashville.
Yeah.
Although I do know that they're on like a 7-game winning streak, but I don't even know if he's been playing.
Well, I can
To be
tell
honest with
you
you,
because I
go for
looked
it,
into
buddy.
this. Good on you for bringing that up. He's doing very okay.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly not worth what any of the money. Um,
But let me ask you a question. I gotta ask you this because is that like a victim of circumstance? Is that because of his surroundings? Is that because he's not partnered up with someone like Riley who complements his style? Because it's all part of building a team and knowing what you have and building on their strengths and
it's a
I don't
hard
know.
it's
What
a
do you
hard
think?
look. It's a hard look because I think he doesn't bring any offensive ability at all.
Yeah, no, but that he's not known for that. In a way,
But it's
you know what I
like,
mean?
but I'm saying in a team where they're struggling, you're like stay at home defensive mentality. And yeah, it's not like he's bad at defense. We argued this the whole way through the playoffs. He's overrated big time. He's never been that good. He's fine. He's a good third pairing, or if you have a great offensive defenseman on your first line, like a Erik Karlsson, to pair up with him, then I think that's where you get Shen. When you have Shen out there playing with like another Shen or like a Brody, you're not getting anything out of that.
And that's perfect. That's exactly where I was coming from because when he was with Riley, when he was put on that pairing, everybody was like all up in arms. It's like, why is this guy being put on the top pair? I mean, it's
Because
all
that's
about
how
the
you because
chemistry.
that's how you pair defensemen.
Sure, no, I understand. It's just, but then I mean, we might as well segue into it when now that they have Lyubushkin, it's like
You know where
people
he's
are all
going.
up and oh yeah, he's definitely going to be on the pairing with Wiley, but people are all looking at it as like number one, number two, and number three pairing, and I don't look at it like that at all. I mean, it's what you have essentially is three effective pairings, which you could just roll out and they can play, somewhat equal minutes. I mean, let's look at it this way: when Simone Benoit came into this team, everybody was like, oh my god, this guy sucks. He was the worst player on his team. Look at him now. He's playing with McCabe and he's logging in these pretty decent minutes, and he's been one of their effective defensemen. It's I think it's just all about finding that chemistry, that
You
person that
need
you could play well with, and hopefully it gels because when Lyubushkin came in the first time, he played well with Riley. Now you have Willigren, you have Brody, who played exceptionally well during the time that Riley was off, and he's looks like he's naturally he was not playing well on the right side with Riley, and he's playing well on the left side. And while Liljegren is playing on the right side, they've gelled. You just got to find that last piece, and hopefully Lyubushkin is it. I think they might get somebody else, but when you can roll out 3 pairings like that can play well, that's awesome for your team. But that's how I feel about it.
That's fair because I usually see the forwards, the first and second line are not really a first and second line. They're like 2 top units that come out at any time. And
1A,
then
1B.
yeah, and then there's a third line, and then there's the grinder line, which is your fourth line. And like on defense, I see the same thing. The first 2 pairings are just one unit of getting all the minutes because your third defensive unit is not going to play much. They're going to come on after power plays, after penalty kills, or during the penalty kill to fill space to give other people a rest. Not that they're bad, but they're not going to be the people that are constantly out there, right? A lot of teams run a 5-guy unit. So the 6th guy is benched most of the time, and there's just one guy replacing one person who looks tired so that they can keep pushing their top guys out. And I agree with that. They were looking at it too much like this is the top line. Like, no, like look at Pittsburgh. They had Carlson on the second line for the longest time. He's obviously their best defenseman. Like, so I was like, you're telling me that he's playing the second unit? You know what I mean? Like, no. But yeah, it's. By the way, they're struggling.
Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
I mean, they played well in the last couple of games.
Yeah, last couple of games,
yes,
but as a
overall,
season,
you're right. Yeah, yeah, no. A big picture overall, you're absolutely right. No.
But digressing from the point, I think let's see how it goes with Lyubushkin. I think he's gonna get first line. In my opinion, and you can take this how you want. I've mentioned this multiple times. I think coming up to this deadline, the big piece for them to move is going to be Brody. I don't think he fits in on our team. I don't think he does much to generally, and it takes 4-point-something million off the books by getting rid of him.
But who do you look to replace him? Now you got to
another defenseman.
Find someone on the left side. You don't necessarily want to find someone that plays a right side or a right.
I mean, that's fair too, and left ones are not as easy to find, but I mean, you can do it. I think if you package him as a salary, right, and teams are not going to be offended by taking Brody. He's not like poop. You package Brody with Robertson. I know I was so high on Robertson for a long time. You know this. I think he still has some stock, and I think you got to get rid of him now. Well, before it like completely tanks off. You pair him with Robertson, and you throw in some draft picks, and you get a really good like $6 million defenseman that they retain or $7 million defenseman that they retain.
Yeah, I really do like Robertson. It's just the fact of the matter is that his size is his Achilles heel. I mean,
and he's wishy-washy.
He gets muscles off the puck, and that's not going to work for you when you trying to make a deep playoff run. He definitely needs to bulk up, but yeah, I mean, they got a decent amount of forwards. I mean, you got guys that have really stepped up in the last little bit. I mean, Reeves is playing great. And he was struggling in the beginning of the season. I mean, Kelly Onkrock is coming back today. So they got some decent pieces in place. So yeah, maybe that's a possibility. You package something and you get some decent return. Whether it's Hannafin or whatever it is. I mean, if we're going to go on the left side, then Dumba might be off the books now. But I don't know. It's going to be what, one more week for the trade deadline. Let's see what they do. When we first talked about it with Lyubushkin, I wasn't. I didn't mind it at all. I thought it was a piece. I don't think it was the piece, but it's a piece that they definitely need to address. And I think if Labushkin can play the same way he did a couple of years back when he was on his team, I think it'll be
Yeah.
overall pretty good.
And it's funny, I saw a few analysts, like TV analysts, not like random dudes, talk about how this trade was inconsequential for the Leafs. And I was like, literally, I know he's not a superstar player, but you literally addressed your issue. It's not the trade, but to pretend like this trade isn't helpful and exactly kind of what we needed is crazy to me.
Without giving out any names, did this person say something to the effect of "You gave up too much for
Yes,
this"? Okay. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to
but I saw more
pay.
than one person, by the way. I just want to say that, but that's the
Yeah,
main one.
I saw a few too, and sometimes you gotta pay in order to address something
In
and
what
to.
world's a third and a sixth paying for anything?
I know it's like you gave away a six for another team to retain salary. Like you got to do what you have to do in order to
Are
make it
we
work.
a team trying to win a cup within the next 3 years? Are we hoping that maybe like that Pavel Datsuk is gonna fall in our lap in the 6th round or Henrik Zetterberg? Like, what is going on here?
Well, let me throw this on you. I mean, it's this year in particular they have to you know, go that extra mile to make it work because next year they're going to be tied up with some of these guys that are getting raises and new contract extensions. It's going to be even tougher to make it work. So this year in particular, they got to try harder, or try, excuse me. Um, they might have uh, some room to work with in 2 years from now. Because Marner's will get that raise if he does stay, but let's be honest, Tavares will not. So they do save some salary, some space there, and hopefully the cap does go up. But coming back to this year and the Labushkin situation, yes, I did hear that point of view. I'm sorry, I disagree. Sometimes you have to pay something, give something to a team in order to make this work. This team had a need
Yeah,
and it was addressed.
yeah.
And, I don't see what the problem is. Now, this other person had a problem with this trade. Oh, uh, Tanev this, Tanev that. Like, he's no Tanev. I'm like, but then you would have to pay more. And you're paying
And
for a guy
mind
who.
you, I agree. You would have paid a lot more in the sense of when you look at what they traded for Tanev, but at the same time, Tanev was still not expensive.
Yeah, no, I mean, there was,
The
I
Leafs could
mean,
have pulled off both of these trades simultaneously.
oh, definitely, definitely. That first round pick would have definitely played a part in one of these
But it's
trades.
fine for me. Listen, this is my point. If you look, and this is to change sports, but anyone who knows hockey at least knows a little bit about something else. In basketball, okay, they only have 2 draft picks per year. Okay. A team that's in the playoffs, in the position the Leafs are, that are pushing to win a cup, especially in a big market, if they're the LA Lakers or whoever, okay? For a bench player that primarily plays defense, that's there to be a lockdown defender like Labushkin is going to be, they would give up a 1st round pick. Literally trade a 1st round pick for a bench guy who plays defense. So
Mhm.
in what world is trading a third and a sixth, hoping you're gonna get a freaking Henrik Lundqvist? Like, no,
Yeah,
it's not gonna happen. That's once in a lifetime.
yeah. I mean, when we look at the situation, they still have their first round draft pick. They
I would
still
have
have
gave the
room.
first, not for Labushkin, but I would have
No,
traded the first.
but like they can still do more. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's what I'm
And
saying.
and they
With
still
the
have room
leverage you
to work
have,
with.
like I said, you have a first that's expendable. You have your fifths, but that are expendable this year. You
Couple
have
prospects.
Yeah, you have 4, 5, 6, 7, I think, next year for draft picks. And then you have a couple prospects. You have Brody, that's a salary that you can move. That's a player people will want. You have Justin Wall in this situation, or Martin Jones if you want a team just to take a goalie. And then you have Nick Robertson, I see. Because right now, at this point, I hate to say it, but Max Domi and Bertuzzi are not getting traded.
Oh no, no, they are effective depth pieces that they need because Keefe is under the impression that those guys are playoff performers, and they're going to need.
And
They're
Bertuzzi had a coming out party the last couple of games. He's been playing
yeah.
amazing.
I mean, ever since they moved Tavares to the third line center position, I mean, Domi's been playing very, very well on that second line with Nylander and Bertuzzi. So, and you have McMahon that stepped up, maybe not in the last couple of games, but he's been playing well overall. But now that you have Kalyankrak coming to fill in that third line wing position, I mean, it just makes them that much better. I have no problem with this trade. I look at from the other point of view, who is trying to argue those guys. It's like, I don't look at it as a first line pairing or second line pairing or third. It's like now you can roll out 3 pairings that can play effectively well against your competition. I mean, geez, like look at the Vegas Golden Knights. That core is free. That defensive core is amazing.
Yeah.
It's not like you just have a first pairing and that logs all the minutes. It's all 6 guys that can actually go out there and play.
You look at a team like Florida and the way that they're rolling out their defense. You look at a team like New York Rangers and the way they're rolling out their defense. Nashville has a really strong defensive core too, and they've, like you said, they've been doing really well lately. I think
Boston, even though I don't like them that much,
but Boston, the thing that makes Boston even more of a threat is from the first line all the way down to the last defensive line. They're all players that can play defense. They have nobody that's useless on the defensive end. Where the Leafs are like, you have like 3 forwards that can play defense, and after that, you're kind of like in a situation.
I like the way they're built. I like the way the Leafs are built right now.
I do now. I think that it's starting to click.
It's starting to click. I think Keefe has made some decisions in the last little bit that it's starting to gel, and I like the way it's coming together.
He's starting to leave things alone, which is something we've asked for a lot.
Yeah.
Stop shuffling. Find something that works and leave it alone.
I will say this though. I mean, maybe he had to do that shuffling in order to find what works. I mean, maybe.
I think fire him, but yeah.
Hey, let's see what happens long term. I mean, I don't. He probably would have still been shuffling Riley and Brody if Riley never got suspended. You know what I mean? Now that he's figured out that Brody actually is more better on the left side than he is on the right, he's willing to just keep it as is and just address pieces. And it's let's see how it works. I hope to God that he doesn't put Tavares back into the second line center, so to reunite him with Nylander. I like the way things are going right now. Might as well just keep it going.
Tavares is playing a really good role spot right now. He's doing well. He's not putting up points right now, but that's a good reason for him to be on the third line because he's not being productive, but he's doing everything else well. So let him play his role,
Yeah. I think it's got to a point we can't log in those crazy minutes anymore. Like
he can't. Now, he's slowly spetzing. But yeah, I mean, that is what it is. I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else?
It's good talk, man. Good talk.
That was a good talk. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think. As always, tell us how stupid we are and how much we don't know about the Leafs. And see you next time.